Everyone, my name is Eric Hopkins, aka JEL. Welcome back to the Dragon's Den. So, Star Wars The Acolyte has officially wrapped up its first season on Disney Plus, and I want to get into a few of my thoughts on the finale episode and a little bit on the season overall, I suppose. But before I do that, I will be talking a little bit of spoilers in this, so I just wanted to let you guys know, especially for the finale. If you have not seen the finale yet, definitely go back and check that out, and then come back and I'll get into some of the spoiler details here after that. I originally wanted to do a non-spoiler review of this, but it's kind of be kind of hard to do since the finale has so much juicy details in it. I kind of wanted to get into here. The series has officially wrapped its first season. Osha is going to be the acolyte that was referenced in the title of the series, obviously, and she is now going to be joining Kamir, who is obviously the master, who was looking for a Sith acolyte as well. So yeah, this is kind of starting off that rule of two thing a little bit here earlier on. Obviously that rule of two was established long before this in the timeline. Hopefully, we're going to see that one day as well with the Darth Bane and things like that in the canon. I'm not going to lie. I was very critical, and you could go back and watch some of my earlier reviews of this season, especially the first 3 weeks or so. I was very critical of the series. I ain't gonna lie to you. By the time the series come around to the very end, I started to enjoy it a lot more. They started doing a lot of things with it, actually tied into the overall canon a little bit more, and was not actually breaking canon, which a lot of people were, discussing and very fearful of. It's not really done that. It's pushing that line a little bit for sure. But at the same time, there were certain things I wasn't a big fan of, like having the twins to kind of be created by the Force. To me, it kind of took away a little bit of the specialness of Anakin Skywalker being created by the Force. But it sounds like they at least had a narrative idea of to why they did that because obviously we got some cameos in this final episode as well. Obviously, the biggest cameo we got at the end of season one was, of course, Yoda himself. Obviously, we had Master Vanestra coming to tell Yoda about the events of season one here at the end here, most likely keeping the truth from him. And of course, everybody's going to be like, well, how did he not sense, everything that was going on with Master Soul and all this stuff that was going down on Brendock and all this sort of stuff? You got to understand the dark side has a way of clouding things for the Jedi, especially at this time frame, this time period. Everybody's going to be like, well, that's just kind of a cop out answer. If you want to look at it that way, I totally understand. At the same time, I had no problem with that particularly. And obviously, as I mentioned a few episodes back, everybody was concerned about, well, how did the Jedi Council not find out? And Kiadi Mundi in episode one's like, the Sith were, believed to be extinct for millennia. But obviously, this by the end of this season, I speculated here on the channel that they were going to potentially cover up all this, and apparently that's exactly what they did. So they were very mindful of the canon, as a matter of fact. You don't necessarily have to like the decisions they made. That's perfectly well within your right as a fan. But at the same time, they didn't break canon in that regard either. So if you didn't like it, that's totally up to you. But in my opinion, I think it's okay. But the big reveal here for those of you who are watching the series and did not know exactly who this was, you might remember a little speech that Emperor Palpatine told Anakin Skywalker in Episode 3. Have you ever heard the tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise? This is Darth Plagueis. This is the first official appearance of Darth Plagueis in Star Wars canon. It appears that he is at least in some sort of cave overlooking the Master and Osha as well on this island. So how they're going to tie all this into canon, I don't quite know. But they're at least implying the fact that Plagueis got the idea to create life, as Palpatine eloquently put it in that scene in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, was potentially because he saw it done before with Osha and May in this series. So that's the implication that they're implying here. So in that regard, I guess I understand what they were trying to do with it. But I'll be interested to see if we do get an Acolyte season 2, if they expand upon Darth Plagueis, if he's involved with Kamir or whatever it might be. So we'll have to see how that all plays out as well. I mean, obviously, a lot of fans are complaining that the series at the end of this season kind of had a little bit of fan service with Yoda and Plagueis to get fans excited for a potential season 2, but they felt it was kind of wasted in such a poorly written season here. Like I said, I understand some of the complaints there, but there's some character motivations that didn't really quite line up. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me either. But at the end of the day, we should be excited for the fact that we're actually getting Darth Plagueis. A lot of you fans have been wanting to see more about him and how he trained Palpatine, and we could very well be getting that here before too much longer here. Maybe the Acolyte, if you continue to do multiple seasons, maybe by the end of the series, you get a Palpatine and you start to see how he was being trained by Plagueis and things as well. So that could be absolutely great. We'll have to wait and see if they end up doing that. I don't know. But yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff in the season finale, I thought, in my opinion. This was something that they have never shown in canon on screen before. Actually, bleeding of the kyber crystals. When you become a Sith, you actually bleed Jedi crystals, usually from the lightsaber of the Jedi you've killed, and you kind of take over that kyber crystal as well. So actually seeing a kyber crystal being bled and turning the lightsaber and the kyber crystal red for the red lightsabers that the Sith carry around, I thought was a really cool image as well. So I really enjoyed what they did with that. I just thought it played very well with the overall story that they were telling with Osha going to the dark side here because of her rage and being upset at Master Saul for killing her mother, and that's the why she couldn't ever become a Jedi, because she had all that rage and grief and resentment that she wasn't able to fully become the Jedi she wanted to be when as a child. So she's now embraced her inner anger, and of course, all that leads to the dark side. So that's all obviously great. And I thought the image of actually the kyber crystal being bled while the blade was ignited as well was really cool. Again, something we've never seen in Star Wars before in any sort of uh canon material. I don't think, outside of maybe comics, that may be a thing, but never on television or in the animation or anything like that. So I thought that was a very cool thing to see, to kind of just have that visual image of the lightsaber being bled in that regard. I think that's something really cool because we've heard about that sort of thing in the novels and in the comics and stuff, but we've never actually got to see it live on television. So I think that was absolutely outstanding in my opinion. And of course, like I said, it just fit the Osha character very well, I thought, by the end of the episode here for sure. But of course, they definitely tied up the season, like I said, like they did, and they definitely made it look like we're going to be getting a season two. Osha's sister May is now with the Jedi, and her memory has been wiped by Kamir. Obviously, Osha and May agreed to do that. Begrudgingly, obviously, but that was the only way to protect May with all the stuff that's been going on in this series as well. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to see where this goes. Interesting that they killed off most of the main and protagonists of the series, obviously with all the Jedi like Saul and Carrie Ann Moss and some of these other characters that they introduced, Yord and Jekki and all this sort of stuff. So kind of interesting choices there. But I don't know if a lot of fans are going to want a season two. A lot of people don't want to see it. Personally, the way it ended, I wouldn't be opposed to it. Clearly, they have a season two in mind. They set it up in that respect. So it sounds like we're going to be getting that. They kind of showed their hand there. So I think you can pretty much expect an Acolyte season two, but we'll just have to wait and see if they actually pull the trigger on it. But I'm excited to at least see where they're going with it. They obviously have some ideas, and I know the showrunner Leslie Headland has definitely talked about how she wants to play out the Plagueis storyline as well. She says she knows exactly where that's going to go, so we'll have to wait and see if they end up doing that. And that's something I would be interested in seeing if they could do it well. And of course, introducing Yoda into this series, I think it'd be great too to see more of him before Episode One as well. You can bring in some other Jedi from the Jedi Council that obviously survive up through the prequels and stuff. So I think there are things you could do that could actually make this series better and improve upon it from season one. So I'm actually encouraged by that. So let's have to wait and see what they do and all that sort of good stuff. But overall, I think it's a lesson to some of us Star Wars fans as well. And like I said, you're well entitled to have your opinion on the show. I'm just telling you my opinion. That the very first few episodes, I'm not a big fan of the political stuff that they've been putting in here when it comes to Disney and Kathleen Kennedy trying to push certain agendas. I fully agree with all that, and even some of that really bugged me in the first few episodes of the series, and some of the decisions they were making a little early on. But as the series progressed, it did kind of make a little bit more sense to me, and I did enjoy certain things that they did, especially toward the end, and some of the stuff they did in order to set up season two. And if that's the case, I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. So we'll see how it goes. But the real question here is, guys, what did you guys think about the season finale of The Acolyte? What did you think of the season overall? And are you guys excited, or do you not want to see a season two of this show? Comment below. Let me know what you guys think. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And until my next video, guys, take care and God bless. May the force be with you.